Hello and welcome to Boomer Live. Today we are here to talk about the Northern Derby. Yes, you heard it right. It was between Delhi Capitals and Punjab Kings. It was a must-win game for both the sides because today's game's victory would depend on their qualifications chances for the playoffs. And boy, didn't Delhi turn up quite well. One would of course feel that 159 was below par on this pitch, but their bowling was just above par to make sure they restricted Punjab to a mere score. And all thanks to Kuldeep Yadav, Shardul Thakur, yet again, Lord Shardul Thakur, in these kind of situations, just brings his Midas touch with the ball in hand, and he made sure that Punjab capitulated. He picked up some crucial wickets out there, including the final important wicket of Jitesh Sharma. And of course, I'm here joined by Sandipani to talk about it. Sandipani, welcome on this show. Let's talk about this because today's win has absolutely made sure Delhi has put one foot in the playoffs already. Sandipani, what do you make of this first innings batting? Because let's start from there. You reckon 159 was a decent enough score in that pitch?
No, I think 159 was probably 10-15 runs short. I mean, the ball was gripping and the ball was spinning, like ball was holding on the pitch and the ball was spinning, so it was good for the spinners. But still, I felt once the ball got old and if the batters would sort of get accustomed, sort of give themselves a few balls to come in and settle themselves in, I think it was some sort of 175 pitch. We always knew the pitch was going to be in favor of spinners right from ball one when Livingston just got Warner out by that soft dismissal. I think the ball just held on to the pitch a bit, and Warner was expecting it to come a lot quicker, and so he just went through with the shot. And I think it was a sort of the start of what was going to, like, what we were going to expect from the spinners in the game. And I think
Right.
all the spinners bowled exceedingly well. Lalit Yadav 1 over 6 runs. Akshar Patel 4 overs 14 runs, 2 wickets. Kuldeep Yadav 3 overs 14, 2 wickets.
You reckon
And
at
Liam
this very
Livingston picked
point,
up
this
3
pitch was
wickets.
just tailor made for someone like an Akshar Patel and also for Kuldeep Yadav? Because the dew was a major factor in the second innings, but still, these two bowlers bowled brilliantly with those conditions which were there to offer.
I think it was the right time when they were introduced into the attack, and I think
Hmm.
they just bowled, like somebody like an Akshar Patel just came in the 7th over and bowled himself out, like in straight away in the by the 13th over itself. So I think it was good captaincy from that point, and also, but again, I would say that again, Kuldeep Yadav picking up 2-3 wickets, got only 3 overs to bowl. Why? Because they sort of perhaps thought that somebody like a Shardul Thakur or Khalil Ahmed would have been a better choice. I think it could have easily backfired for them because even though Shardul Thakur got those 4 wickets, I really have to say that the last 2 wickets that he got, it was more the batsman going for the hits than the bowler picking up those wickets. I mean, that ball to Shikhar Dhawan was a beauty,
Yeah.
was a picture. And even Rajapaksha, it was a clever change of sort of length after being hit for that boundary. He
Yeah.
came back and he picked up that wicket. But the last 2 wickets, I think he was not bowling well in the death overs. Even Ravada came in and smacked that huge six, and he was just bowling on the slot. He was not sort of bowling according to the plan. But again, he was bowling to the lower middle and the tail enders basically. So it worked out really well for him. But all in all, I'll perhaps be a bit critical and say he was like a bit off today, even though he picked up
Right.
4 wickets.
Right. I mean, you can say so, but then that's what you expect of Shardul Thakur, right? All the
Yeah.
time he just gets to ball and he just picks up a wicket here or there out of nowhere. He just picks a wicket out of the run of the play, and that's why Shardul Thakur is called the Lord Shardul Thakur for a particular reason. But yeah, his ability with the ball was just excellent today because he was also
Yeah.
pitching the ball in the right area. For example, one of the balls which he bowled to Jitesh Sharma, that one Yorker, I thought was
Yeah.
just outstanding. To bowl a Yorker in that conditions was very tough, and he executed
Yeah.
that brilliantly as well. But yeah, Punjab would be regretting themselves because let's talk about their batting. They are one of the most unpredictable teams of this year's IPL, isn't it? On a day when they get going, they post a score in excess of 200, but on a day when they don't get going, they just capitulate to a mere score, which can be very, very low. And today, that's exactly what happened. On 9 out of 10 days, you would have backed them to chase that score of 159 because they had the powerhouse. They had a player like Shikhar Dhawan who could possibly have anchored the innings. They had a Johnny Bairstow could have given them or gotten them off to a flyer. And of course, Rajapaksa, you expect him to be a very good player of spin because he is actually a very good player of spin as well. What do you reckon, was the mistake for Punjab Kings? Because you reckon they miscalculated the score chase because They lost quite a bit of wickets up front after Johnny Bairstow, and the wickets just fell like flock of like just a pack of cards. They just kept falling, and all thanks to Jitesh Sharma and Rahul Chahar towards the end. They just reached even close to 140 there, isn't it?
Yeah, first of all, given the unpredictability that they have shown this season, I think Delhi Capitals would have been quite confident even with 160 on the board, especially because they knew that somebody like, see, if Punjab Kings have to chase some sort of these totals like 150, 160, 170, the one player that has to come good for them is Shikhar Dhawan. I think
Yeah.
the players sort of have play around Shikhar Dhawan, especially because Mayank Agarwal is not in the best of forms. So it is expected that Shikhar Dhawan will sort of hold one end of the game and sort of anchor the chase. And I think he was out there to do that, but he was just caught off guard by that brilliant delivery from Shardul Thakur, and the ball just bounced a bit, and I probably think it just hurried on to him a bit, and he
Right.
just got that edge. Other than that, I think it was a slight miscalculation. I think they just got stuck in the middle overs. Somebody they just completely lost it. After 5 overs, I think they were somewhere 45, 46 for one. And even in the sixth over, they started off well. When Shardul Thakur came into ball, Dhawan hit that boundary of the first ball.
Hmm.
Rajapaksha got a boundary of the third ball, a streakish boundary. But once Rajapaksha fell, I think in that over itself, in the last three balls of the power play, Shardul picked up Rajapaksha and Shikhar Dhawan. And
You
then
reckon this
we
game was a kind of a game where one batsman should have batted through the 20 overs, because you know that more you take the game deep, as MS Dhoni says, more you take the game deep, the bowling team is under pressure. And today that's something which we saw as well. When Jitesh Sharma was batting, you saw the nerves were kicking onto the Delhi camp. They were feeling it at that very point, isn't it? But then that wicket came. David Warner's brilliant catch. That was one of the catch of the tournaments for me, because just giving the game situation, the place where the team was placed in, and that the catch was very tough to take. David Warner just ran in and picked it up. It was that for me is a catch of the tournament, given the scenario. That's it. But talking about that, you reckon something like a Mayank Agarwal should have possibly taken a lot more onus with his batting, because today was the most ideal situation for him to take the game, take the team home, and which would have meant that they were in the hunt for the playoff chance. They still are, but then it just goes down way more now after this loss.
Yeah, I was going to come to talk about Mayank Agarwal, because I don't know. It just seems that he's completely off touch, because we know that somebody like a Mayank Agarwal, Rajapaksha, Liam Livingston, Shikhar Dhawan, they are all good players of spin. I mean, but in this tournament, he has just struggled. I think even against the game against Rajasthan Royals, Mayank Agarwal came in the middle order. He struggled against somebody like a Chahal, Ashwin. He has had issues against class quality spin bowlers in the past as well. That is why we have seen Mayank Agarwal come in at the top, where he has been explosive. He takes advantage of that power play. But with Bairstow and Shikhar Dhawan already at the top, I think the best position for him is to come in at number three. I mean, Rajapaksha is a very good player at number three as well. But I feel that he can even come in at number four and number five, and sort of fulfill the responsibility that he is
Right.
currently filling at number three. But somebody like a Mayank Agarwal, who is clearly and evidently struggling at number four or number five, he just needs a couple of balls to first of all settle down before sort of getting comfortable against the spinners. Because we saw that Akshar Patel, what he did was just keep it simple, two arm deliveries. In the first one, he just like came in the
But
front foot and
then that
defended
was
it.
a peach of a ball to get him out as well.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
got it
And
into
in the
up
second
tempo
delivery,
game.
he had no clue whether to come front or go back. He just was stuck on the pitch, and he had no clue how to play that. And even I'll
Yeah.
say that Liam Livingston played an innings like sort of something we expect from Andrew Russell. Coming in, you
Yeah.
know that you just have to play out the spinners. Like 106 required of 14 overs is not much,
But I thought at that
especially
very
when
point, Kuldeep Yadav
yeah,
was bowling just magnificently, because he was just building the pressure.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
Liam Livingston is a kind of batsman who doesn't like to stay and bat with a lot of temperament. For him, it's just one way or the highway, isn't it? Because
yeah, yeah.
in his own way, he just gets going. Once he gets going, you know what the kind of impact he can make. But he just doesn't like to stay around, possibly milk the singles here and there. If he's doing that, he has more chance of getting out than, playing it out. So that's one thing which he did. But Kuldeep Yadav was just excellent. What did you make of that spell of bowling? Because I thought that was the crucial turning point in this game, because his spell of bowling out there, just tying up someone like Liam Livingston, because he wasn't picking up wickets before this game. And today, under those circumstances, the conditions were tough. He just came and picked up one of the most important wickets of the season for him.
I think Kuldeep Yadav had picked up just 1 wickets in the last 4 games. Uh, Coming into this game, even though he had picked up 18 wickets in this tournament already, but in the last 4 games he had just picked up 1 wicket. So Kuldeep Yadav was under some pressure coming into this game, especially with the dew coming in. It was going to be difficult for him. But the way he set it up in that over, in the eighth over, because in the previous over, Akshay Patel had just got rid of Mayank Agarwal and the team was under pressure. So we all knew that Akshay Patel was going to come in from the other end, bowl an economical spell, and get it done with. But we were all concerned about how Punjab Kings sort of go against Kuldeep Yadav because he had 4 overs. And again, interestingly, Rishabh Pant just used him for the 3 overs. I think if something would have gone amiss for them in the death overs, and if somehow Punjab Kings would have pulled it off, I think a lot of fingers would have been raised towards Rishabh Pant, especially because the boundary at the DY Patel Stadium, one end of the boundary is somewhat the square boundary is something like 75-77 meters, which is larger than most of the pitches like they have been playing on, except the one at Pune probably. So I
Hmm.
think he could have tried Kuldeep Yadav from the end where Shardul Thakur bowled the 3 overs at the death. Um, yeah, I think he could have finished his quota of 4 overs. But other than that, I think he bowled brilliantly. Just the way he set it up, 5 balls, 2 runs was only scored off his first over, and that is the reason why Liam Livingston thought that probably we are sort of getting stuck, so we just need to go after it, and
Right.
then it just brought about his downfall.
True. I
So
mean,
brilliant
you
bowling
have
from
to
Kuldeep Yadav.
you have to give it to Liam Livingston also for bowling really well today. That's one thing
Yeah,
about him.
definitely.
He didn't contribute with the bat, but he did contribute with the ball. So you can't
Yeah,
blame him much today at all. But I felt the onus was on someone like a Shikhar Dhawan and Mayank Agarwal, the
yeah.
two best players of spin in that team, to just take the team home. I wouldn't really give overseas players a chance today because you understand that situations were against or the conditions were too alien for them because ball was sticking on the wicket quite a lot. And to play out someone like an Akshar Patel or someone like a Kuldeep Yadav, you need proper technique. You need that finesse in playing those spinners well. And I
I
felt
think I
Mayank
think there
Agarwal,
was an instance where Liam Livingston came in at number 4. I think
yeah,
at that situation in the sixth over, like at the end of the sixth over, right when somebody like Shikhar Dhawan got not Shikhar Dhawan, Rajapaksha got out. I think they could have probably brought in a pinch hitter of sorts because we know that Punjab Kings bat very deep. Harpreet Brar comes in at number 7, Rishi Dhawan comes in at number 8, and then we have somebody like a Ravada and Rahul Chahar who are not jokes with the bat as well. So they can
yeah,
come in at number 9 and 10. So we could have possibly seen somebody like a Rishi Dhawan or a Harpreet Brar coming in at number 4 to sort of unsettle the bowlers a bit. But they sort of stuck to the orthodox method. Nothing wrong with it. It was a pressure game. They decided that the best players will come in early. It was just not meant to be their day. Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, you have to give credit there. But having said that, I'm just looking at one of those fall of wickets. The fall of wickets is something which was very worrying. I just felt like I don't want to use that term, but then they choked.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they absolutely choked under pressure, something which we know of Punjab Kings too common of doing in crunch situations like this. Let's look at the follow wickets, right? It was 2 for 53, there was 3 for 54, 4 for 55, and 5 for 61, and 6 for 67. So you're
So
telling
just
me they
13
lost
runs and
close
five
to
wickets.
5 wickets in 14 run span. That is proper choking. But they wouldn't really want to call it choking because
But
it's just
but
part of
we should
Punjab.
give complete credit to Shardul Thakur the way he bowled in the sixth over. Not so much in the death overs, but yeah,
Yeah,
definitely in that over in the power play sort of changed the game for them. Otherwise, I think Punjab Kings were sort of cruising at the end of 5.3 overs, 53 for one. They are sort of cruising at a target of 160 with Dew coming in later on in the game. So just those 3 balls changed the game around, and then the
yeah,
spinners
absolutely.
just stepped up their game.
Absolutely, but I'm also a little worried about Kuldeep Yadav not being used a lot. Today I understand there was a due offer, and they were a little skeptical on not bowling on Kuldeep Yadav. But what happens is in these kind of conditions, you want to give more confidence when he is in the song, and that's one of the criticism we have often criticized Rishabh Pant for because he's not been using Kuldeep Yadav to the complete quota or finish his overs up. Which when he's bowling in the song, it's not like one of those days when he's getting hit. Okay, fine, you don't have to go back to him, but on a day when he's bowling absolutely well, you possibly could have gotten someone like Rahul Chahar there, and you never know.
Yeah,
And Kuldeep Yadav would have sealed the game even earlier. That's where I
yeah, yeah,
feel
yeah.
Rishabh Pant should be more braver in
No,
taking these
exactly.
calls.
That's what I said. That if the game would have shifted, I mean, if Jitesh Sharma and Rahul Chahar would have finished the game off for Punjab Kings, I think a lot of fingers would have been raised on Rishabh Pant. I mean, he can say at the end of the day that we won, but I mean, when 60, 70 runs are required of the last 6, 7 overs, and one of your premium strike bowlers has bowled 3 overs for just and given just 14 runs and picked up 2 wickets, and you have lower middle order batsmen and tailenders at the crease. I think Kuldeep Yadav was a must out there, even though there was dew, but he was bowling well with the dew playing in as well. So you have to consider that fact as well. He was completely on song, and it is something some sort of questionable captaincy from him,
Right,
because
right,
I understand you can give Khalil Ahmed the ball because he was in good form coming prior to the game, but somebody like a Shardul Thakur, even though they had picked him to bowl in those death overs, but he has not been good enough for me this season with the ball, especially at the death overs, because
right.
they brought him for a lot, and he has sort of chipped in one or two of those games, like he chipped in today, but overall I feel his performance has been a bit of a letdown for Delhi Capitals.
Right. Before that, let's talk about Sarfraz Khan as well, because I thought his opening of him opening the batting was so crucial in today's win, because that quick fire 32 ultimately, if you look in hindsight, was the turning point in this game, because that just gave Delhi Capitals the momentum to post the score they did, because the more they got into the innings, it was getting tougher. The ball was getting softer. It was gripping a lot more. Spinners were in the game a lot more. But that new ball burst from Sarfraz Khan was so important, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're coming in at place of Prithvi Shaw, you have to play like Prithvi Shaw. So I think he started off really well, and even he got out like Prithvi Shaw, trying to clear mid off, trying to
Not
hit
even
that.
joking, he also looks like Prithvi Shaw while batting. Just looking at his stature, the kind of shots he plays.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I just felt
definitely.
for a second was it Prithvi Shaw who was batting.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, especially because Delhi Capitals are filled with power hitters, right from like somebody like David Warner, if he gets going, he is one of the most explosive batsmen in the world cricket right now. So they have somebody like a Mitchell Marsh, Rishabh Pant, uh, Robman Powell to follow. I felt today, especially today, getting Lalit Yadav ahead of Rishabh Pant was a questionable decision, according to me. I understand Lalit Yadav was not getting either the ball or the bat, so they sort of opted to go with him. But I think he sort of brought the momentum down in the
Do you
game.
reckon Lalit Yadav is a Riyan Parag of this team? I don't
Yeah,
want to
I mean, they
compare, but
just don't
there
know
is
where
a
to use him.
certain amount of favoring they're doing for Lalit Yadav, and it's quite surprising for me, because it's not like he has come off pretty well. He's done something exemplary, but then the kind of favoring he's getting, the kind of positions he's getting to bat, the kind of overs he's getting to ball. I just feel like this team really backs this guy, and they might have seen something out of him, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, all's well that ends well for Rishabh Pant, but I think if they would have lost this game, a lot of like questions would have been raised on his captaincy, especially because Lalit Yadav, they just don't know where to fit him in the team, like when to give him. I would have understood if sort of Delhi Capitals were chasing 160 and they would have lost two wickets within the power play. Somebody like a Lalit Yadav coming in place of Rishabh Pant, I can understand that. That you need to sort of stabilize the innings,
Yeah.
but right at the end, like towards the end of the sixth over, when Sarfaraz Khan got out, I think Rishabh Pant was a best fit for today's game. I was sort of backing him. I was sort of expecting a good Pant performance, because we have seen in the last few games he had got starts, but he was not getting those deliveries to sort of
Right.
get himself in. Even today, if he would have come in at the sixth over instead of the 10th, 11th over, where he felt that he would have to go from the first ball itself,
Hmm.
I think he would have made a larger impact on the game. And who knows, we could
Right.
have seen another Pant classic.
Absolutely. Having said that, let's look at the points table, right? It is like a Pandora box at this very point. Everybody wants to see it. Everybody are so excited about it. And what has it done for Delhi Capitals at this very point? That win means they're in number 4 in the table. Punjab Kings have actually entered the net fund rate once again. They go to minus 4-3 at this very point. They go below. No, they don't go below. But then, yeah, they are in a lot of trouble. They have to win the next game, and not just that, they have to hope Delhi Capitals also get a hammering from Mumbai Indians. I just feel like Punjab Kings are virtually knocked out at this very point, all with the likes of also with someone like a Sunrisers Hyderabad, but KKR are well in it. KKR are well in it if Delhi Capitals slip up here, and also Royal Challengers Bangalore lose. And also, all the RCB fans, maybe including me, will be rooting for Mumbai Indians on on 21st. I think 21st is the game they're
Yeah,
going to be
on
playing
the game
against the
against
Delhi
Delhi
Capitals.
Capitals. Yeah,
And Mumbai Indians would want to take a revenge of 2018 when Delhi Capitals denied them. It was back then Delhi Devils who denied them of qualification in the playoffs. So they will have the old scores to settle, and it's going to be an absolute great game to watch. And I'll be rooting, for the blue team. There are two teams with blue, but the pure blue, the Paulton as they call it. You don't want to
yeah.
be knowing which team I'm rooting, but then let's talk about what it has done to the table. Sandipani,
Yeah.
let's talk about qualification scenarios at this very point. Break it down for
Yeah.
us because you know about this much better than anybody else.
Yeah, so I'll just go from the bottom. So one out of SRH and Punjab Kings are sort of knocked out because they are going to face off against each other in the last game of the tournament.
Yeah,
Last playoff game of the season, like last game before the playoffs in the season. So either one of those teams can maximum go for 14 points, and
right.
one of the teams will definitely finish on 12 points or below. And even given Punjab Kings net run rate, it's almost safe to say Punjab Kings have to beat Sunrisers Hyderabad by a huge margin and expect somebody like a KKR to lose or win by a small margin, and somebody like an RCB or Delhi Capitals to lose. So a lot of things have to go right for Punjab Kings to qualify. SRH are sort of out of it. I think they have to win by something around 100, 120 runs and expect the same scenarios as Punjab Kings to qualify.
What if they win the next two games by 100 runs?
Yeah, yeah, definitely that's the case. They have to win the next two games with 50 runs and 50 runs margin, and still they have to expect somebody like a KKR to lose or win by a small margin, Delhi Capitals and RCB to lose. So this is the case for Punjab Kings and Sunrisers Hyderabad. For KKR, it is a bit simpler. They just have to win their game by a considerable amount of margin. They have to expect RCB loses and Delhi Capital loses by a bit, like sort of by 20-30 runs, or sort of Mumbai Indians wins with 2-3 overs to spare, and KKR have to win considerably around 20-30 runs. I think that will help them to take over, like take the position of Delhi Capitals, replace Delhi Capitals on the table. So
Right.
it's basically simple for them, a bit simpler for them. And RCB have it easier. They just have to wish that they win their game and Delhi Capitals loses, and also
Right.
KKR loses. So
I mean,
it's
KKR, they don't have
basically
to do anything with KKR, I believe. I think they all have to do is them winning and Delhi
yeah. I mean,
Capital
if they
losing
lose,
this further.
yeah, if RCB loses, they are sort of out of it because they
Yeah,
can't
they're
make
out
it
of it.
to 14 with that net run rate. So it's a
Yeah,
must-win game for RCB, and they have to hope that Delhi Capitals loses. And
yeah.
speaking about Delhi
That's why
Capitals, they have the yeah, they have
they
the
have the easiest
simplest of
start.
the equations.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
they have
just
the
have to
easiest
win
start.
against Mumbai Indians and
Yeah, they
expect
have to
KKR
just
does
win
not
by one.
topple them over.
And let's talk about their chance. They might go to number.
Two
Okay,
as well.
there's an
Yeah, I was
interesting
coming to that. I
possibility
was
here.
coming to that.
There's a very interesting possibility. Delhi Capitals can finish at number two in the table.
Well, yeah.
Yes,
For that,
this is
Rajasthan Royals have to lose against Chennai Super Kings, and Lucknow Super Giants have to lose against KKR, and Delhi Capitals have to definitely win. So they will
it's going to be
be
very
able to.
interesting. Guys,
Yeah,
this is going down the wire, and that's why we love the IPL because Delhi Capitals, who were out of the contention, can possibly make it to the qualifier number one. And what more would Delhi Capitals really want? Because they would all want is LSG to lose against Kolkata Knight Riders and Rajasthan to lose, and them winning over Mumbai Indians by a considerable run rate. The moment LSG and KKR RR lose, their net run rate is going to come dipping. And I
definitely.
reckon
So they don't even have to win by a huge margin.
they
They
don't
just
even
have
have
to
to
hope
win by
that
a huge
Lucknow loses
margin.
to KKR and Rajasthan loses to Chennai Super Kings, and they just have to win
Absolutely.
against him. And if
That's
Delhi
very
Capitals
interesting.
wins, it's just goodbye for all the other teams, unless KKR sort of topples them over by beating Lucknow Super Giants by a huge margin.
I mean, even if you're a KKR fan at this very point, there is some hope in you because if Delhi Capitals lose and if RCB gets toppled over by Gujarat Titans, and if you are ready to defeat LSG, which is going to happen day after tomorrow, that is going to be a very, very crucial game. And the moment they do that, if they can reach to number four in the table,
Yeah. All their
KKR
eyes
will
will
be
be glued on
playing
the
called
game between
Eliminator
Delhi
at
Capitals
their
and
home.
Mumbai Indians and RCB
Can you
versus.
imagine
Yeah.
KKR playing Eliminator in front of a 1 lakh Eden Gardens crowd? That would
That
be
would be
just
awesome.
amazing. And that's something which KKR fans would like to see, not an RCB fan. But
Yeah.
of course, let's talk about that later on. But it'll be very interesting. That's why, just as a neutral, at this very point, I'm very excited for the business end. As always, the drama is there to offer. I am just displaying the points for way too long because I can't just memorize it at this very point because it's too much
So
of
just to
confusion.
sum it up, I think it's advantage Delhi Capitals right now, given that they have the largest sort of chance or probability to qualify, given the current stage. They just have to win their game, and they just have to win their game and hope that RCB, even if RCB wins, if Delhi Capitals wins, they go to 16 points with a superior net run rate. So
Right.
they just qualify. It's as simple
Absolutely.
as win your game for Delhi Capitals.
Right, and that's something which is very interesting for them because they will have all to within themselves now.
Yeah.
Now everything is controllable for them. For RCB, it is out of their hands at this very point. For all of the teams, it's out of their hands. But for Delhi Capitals, it's within their reach to qualify. And all what they have to do is defeat Mumbai Indians. They'll be
Yeah.
playing Mumbai Indians, who they defeated in the first game of the tournament. And Mumbai Indians will have some
And
scores to
somebody who is
settle of
lurking at the
2018.
bottom of the tables.
Yes, but at the same time, Mumbai Indians will be playing a game tomorrow as well. So the momentum for Mumbai Indians will depend on the game they play tomorrow. And at the
They
same
can
time,
potentially just knock out Sunrisers Hyderabad tomorrow itself.
yes, yes, and they would want to play the party spoilers role, and that's certainly going to be their
Yeah.
motivation at this very point. And the Mumbai Indians will have another motivation that they wouldn't want to end at the bottom of the table. If they win the next two matches, they go on ninth. So which means they don't end the IPL at the bottom of the table, and they would want maybe Chennai Super Kings end the IPL at the bottom of the table. But then
I'm
that's
just
something which
backing
we
Mumbai
don't.
Indians to play the party spoiler in both the games.
Maybe, possibly, and that's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah.
And that's why this week is all about excitement. This week is going to possibly turn the fortunes for many teams. This week is going to break hearts of many fans. This week is going to possibly give us a direction as to where this IPL is going to end. And of course, we will be analyzing at the end of the week as to where the teams have been placed and where things are going to go. Whether Sandipani is going to witness his team in Eden Gardens play, or is it going to be Royal Challengers Bangalore? Is it going to be maybe Lucknow Super Giants RR? Or a lot of confusion. I don't want to be,
Yeah, yeah,
going
yeah.
into that. Sunny Mani, let's talk about fantasy side of things because today we've had a long chatter because there have been a lot of things to talk about because of the qualification scenarios, and it has opened up with Delhi Capitals winning today's game. What do you make of the chances? I mean, what did you make of today's fantasy side, and how were your chances today? Because I know many of them do not have Shardul Thakur in their team because
Yeah.
he was just out of nowhere. He just came and picked up 4 wickets, which made sure many of the players drop points. And did you also drop points there?
Yeah, I definitely dropped over 100 points because I did not have Shardul Thakur in my team. I was almost about to not have somebody like a Kuldeep Yadav and Akshay Patel, but then I realized that Punjab Kings have been struggling against the spinners. So I just added them at the latest stage of the, just before the game started. But I did not have Shardul Thakur in my team. But I had Mitchell Marsh as my vice captain and Liam Livingston as my captain, even though he did not contribute with the bat. He gave me enough points with the ball. But still, I would have hoped for a better day at the office because Shardul Thakur coming good and just he just played a spoiled sport to my some of the fantasy picks in my team because I did not have Shardul Thakur in any of my teams. I had made two teams. I did not have him on any. So he just proved me wrong, picking up 4 wickets, and yeah, it was a good
He'll prove
performance.
a lot of people wrong. That's why he's called
Yeah,
the Lord Shardul Thakur. And even in fantasy cricket, he just makes impact. Just not the opposite. Even fantasy players are worried. If you don't have Shardul Thakur in your team, he can come to haunt you. And he just comes out from out of the run of play and he just picks you a lot of points. So that's Shardul Thakur for you. Having said that, thank you for Sandipani for joining. It was a great discussion and we had an in-depth discussion on the game and also on qualification scenario. And of course, guys, show some love on the channel by subscribing to the channel. Click the bell icon so that you get notified whenever we go live. And we'll be going live post every game through the course of the IPL and also after that. And also get ready for some of the exciting podcasts what we're going to be doing on various topics on cricket, football, and much more. And also follow us on Twitter. The link is in the bio right now. Click on it, follow us so that you can join us for the Twitter space of what we do with Jones and Sandipani and Crazy Nicks as well at times. So, and also, guys, remember to play the fantasy contest with Boom 11 because you don't want to have any of the losses. Because on such days where you don't have some players, you might incur losses, but that's not the case with Boom 11. You can play for absolute free of cost and win big with Boom 11. So remember, just play the contest with Boom 11 and win big this IPL. And have a safe time, all of you, and also take care. See you all with the business end of the IPL getting more and more exciting. And of course, we'll be there every day to talk about it and show you all our excitement for sure. So take care. Bye bye.
bye bye, guys.